everyone, and welcome to Storytime Chill with Val and Seal. I am one half of your host, Miss Cecilia Seal Smith.
And I'm your other half, Valerie Val Johnson Reed.
Awesome, and we are back with season three where we are redefining story time. So we're so happy that you are joining us here once again. Before we bring up one of our familiar guests, one of our sister authors, Miss Kristy High, we did want to announce the HBCU of the week. Val, who do we have?
And the HBCU of the week is, drum roll, it is the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Now, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff was founded in 1873. It was known as the Branch Normal College. It changed its name to Arkansas Agricultural, Mechanical, and Normal College in 1927. But in 1972, they merged with the University of Arkansas system, and that's when it became the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Their motto is student focused and success driven. They are home, which I didn't know this, but they are home to one of the top agricultural and fishery programs in the country. And they're also home of the Golden Lions. And this school has a special place in my heart because this is the college that my mom attended. So,
Awesome.
University of Arkansas Pine Bluffs, hats off to the Golden Lions.
Yes. So mom was an HBCU alumni.
She is.
Turn up. So, as always, we want to make sure that we're spotlighting and giving HBCUs the recognition that they deserve. They mean so much to us, and they do so much for us. So,
Yes.
good, good, good. We'll see. We'll have to tune in next week to see who our next HBCU of the week is. If you have any recommendations, definitely DM us or comment below, and we will take your recommendation into consideration for next week's show. So excited.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and bring up our sister author, Miss Kristy High, and she's going to tell us all about her latest book and just what she's been up to. Hey,
There she
Kristy.
is.
Hi.
Hi, girl.
Hey,
Hello,
girl.
Christy.
Hello. I'm so happy to be back.
We are happy to see you.
Uh-huh.
Our audience might not know who you are. So go ahead, Christy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, again, I'm Kristy High. I reside in Ohio. I am originally from North Carolina. I am an educator at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and I wear a lot of different hats. So, again, I'm an educator, I'm an author, I'm a publicist, I'm an author coach. I just do it all. My passion is kids, literacy, education. And I have 4 books right now. And so I'm just really excited. And I'm all about getting the books in the children's hands.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's what it's
Love it.
about.
Yes.
That's what it's about. So without further delay, Christy High, take it away.
All right. My latest book is entitled How to Tame My Busy Brain. Hi, my name is Sam. There are a lot of things I like doing. I like riding my bike with friends, helping my dad in the kitchen, and going to the park. One thing I don't like is worrying. Sometimes I worry that I'll get left behind at the park. Sometimes I worry that when my dog runs off, he won't come back. Sometimes I worry that I'll get a bad grade on a test. When I worry, I feel sad, mad, and sick all at the same time. The first time that this happened to me, I was playing at my friend Nick's house. Nick's dad made lemonade for everyone, and when he handed me the glass, it slipped out my hand. The glass broke, and there was lemonade everywhere. I said that I was sorry and offered to help clean it up. Nick's dad said it was okay as he picked up the broken glass and mopped up the lemonade. He said that everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Even though he said that, I felt very bad. I didn't feel like playing anymore. I felt like Nick's parents would never let me come over again. I worried that Nick would tell everyone at school that what had happened and they would make fun of me. I still felt bad that night when I went home for dinner. I didn't even want to eat my pizza, and pizza's my favorite. The last time this happened was after soccer practice. My mom was 30 minutes late picking me up. She called my coach and he stayed behind to sit with me, but I still felt worried. Mom is never late to get me from soccer practice. In fact, most of the time she's early and she sits and waits until practice is over. When my mom did arrive, she was in a bad mood. She said there had been a lot of traffic on the way. I tried to be quiet, but my mom could tell something was wrong. And when we got home, she asked me about it. Was everything okay at practice? She asked. Everything had been fine at practice. I even scored 2 goals, but I wasn't sure if it was okay to be happy about that. It was fine, Mom, I said. She told me that I didn't look like everything was fine and asked me if I was feeling well. I told her that my stomach hurt, my head hurt, and my palms were feeling sweaty. She asked me how long I had been feeling that way. I told her that it had started when I found out she was going to be late to pick me up after practice. Have you ever felt this way before? She asked. Sometimes, I told her, but it always goes away. It was then that she told me she was going to call Dr. Barnes and make an appointment. That made me worry too. But then Mom hugged me and told me it was going to be okay. A few days later, we went to see Dr. Barnes. He took my temperature, weighed me, listened to my heart, and asked me to tell him how I was feeling. I told him that I was feeling fine. But then my mom told him about the day after soccer practice. He asked me if I ever felt that way before, and I told him the same thing I told my mom. It was then that he suggested to my mom that we go see his friend, Dr. Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez had a different kind of office than Dr. Barnes. She didn't take my temperature or weigh me or listen to my heart. Instead, she talked to me. She asked me to tell her about how I felt when I was worried. And then she asked me to tell her when I felt that way. According to Dr. Hernandez, that I was feeling is called anxiety. Is something wrong with me? I asked her. My stomach was starting to hurt. Not at all. A lot of people, even grown-ups, get anxious sometimes, she told me. Is there any way to make it go away? I asked. Dr. Hernandez told me that she could teach me and my parents some ways to help me handle being anxious. Will these things stop me from worrying? I asked. They will not stop you from worrying, she said, but they will help you feel less worried. I wanted to feel less worried. One of the activities Dr. Hernandez suggested was looking at a situation in a different way. One situation I told her I was worried about was giving the wrong answer in class. She said that that happens and that I should remember that everyone makes mistakes sometimes and that making a mistake and being corrected is another way to learn. Another activity she suggested was to write down what I'm feeling or to draw a picture about it. She said this can help me to get out what I'm feeling and that I may want to keep a journal or sketchbook. Dr. Hernandez also told my parents to make sure that I was getting enough sleep, enough time to play. She said that regular things like these, along with making sure I drank water and had time to relax, are good ways to make sure that my feeling anxious isn't taking over. I still feel anxious and I still don't like it. I still feel sad, mad, and sick all at once. But with the tips that Dr. Hernandez gave me and my parents, I'm able to feel this way less. I'm so glad I told my mom what I was feeling. The end.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
always enjoy your books, but I'm going to wait till Q&A, but I really, really, really love this book.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
that was really good,
Yeah.
Kristy. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing how
Thank
to
you.
tame my busy brain. So let's talk about that. Why did you write a book about anxiety? You've written books about self-esteem,
Mhm.
sickle cell, asthma, but why a book about anxiety? Talk to us about that.
Well, this was very personal for me because I have struggled with anxiety since I was a kid, and I just didn't understand it back then. I actually was really embarrassed. I didn't want to talk to my parents about it. And I know sometimes kids feel like they don't want to bother their parents or stress them out. They can sense they have other things to worry about that they feel are more important. And I know that's how I felt just having other siblings in the household as well. I didn't want to take all the attention away from them
Yeah.
with something that I didn't even understand myself. So I
Right.
decided to write this book because I wish I had something like this when I was younger to identify what it is. And I had the same symptoms that Sam had. I promise you, my stomach hurt every day.
Wow.
And I thought I was sick or something, but it was just my anxiety. And I was so worried about every little thing. And I knew it wasn't normal. It just didn't feel right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just think that's amazing because even though you felt that way as a child, you recognized you didn't know what it was, but you did recognize that it was something.
Hmm.
And then now as an adult to actually write about what you felt, I think that's amazing because you've learned over the years that, it's normal, but at the same time, you need some strategies and some help with that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important. I think I appreciate you pointing that out.
Yes.
So, what has been one of the things that what has been your I know you've talked to students about your book. What has been the response? What have been students, boys and girls' responses from listening to you read How to Tame My Busy Brain?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. They all say they identify with Sam. And like they have personally told me that, but also parents have reached out to me that took the time to read the book with their kids during the day or at night. And they would look at their mom or dad and say, I'm just like Sam. And so it just touched me, it made me sad but happy as well that the
Mm-hmm.
conversation was getting started and
Yeah.
that parents could realize, they need to check in more and see really how their kids are feeling about things and life overall. Because it's hard for all of us, but especially kids who
It
don't know
is.
how to really express
Yeah.
those feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Kristy even said something important. She said, when the parents took the time to read with their
Yes.
kids, you have to make time to take
Time.
time with your kids. And sometimes,
Mhm.
just like Kristy said, they may not have the words to say, or they may not even be able to describe what it is they're truly feeling until they see it in a book or see it on a cartoon show or see it in some type of capacity where they can identify and say, hey, I'm going through just the same thing that that character is going through. So it's about taking the time to pay attention and actually learn what your child's going through. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and my favorite thing is one of the elementary schools, they asked for the book, and so I donated a bunch of books because I wanted it to be in their library.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted me to make a video since they weren't allowing visitors due to COVID. So I made a video for them doing the same thing, reading the story and introducing myself and everything. And that principal took the video and showed it in each one of the classrooms. And I was
Wow.
like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And she
Yes.
said the response was like amazing. Like the kids were so engaged and so excited about this topic and this character.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. I just think it's amazing because especially in our community, we don't talk about anxiety.
no.
We just, oh well, just you get over it or feel better and just
You'll
keep
be all
going,
right.
just keep going.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we don't encourage that talk. So I'm glad, it makes a difference that you recognize that it was needed
Mhm.
and that you actually wrote a book and published a book that talks about anxiety. We don't talk about it as we don't talk
No.
about it in our communities. Imagine what our children are going through. But then it's like even as adults, we don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about it.
We don't.
It's something that you keep that to yourself or you keep that in your house. We don't
Hmm.
talk about anxiety. We don't talk about feelings, emotions, and how
Yeah.
that feel and how that felt. So it's we it's books like yours that's gonna we have to have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
do.
have to. The sooner we start with our children, the better. And
Yeah.
I'm just we're thankful that you're able to recognize that there was a need for it and go for it. It's
Yeah.
so needed. So
Thank
needed.
you.
So
Thank
needed.
you.
what has been one of the you've written 4 books, Kristy. What has been one of the what would you say? I know you probably don't have a favorite,
I
but
have
what would you say would be? Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite book? Okay,
yes,
what would be your favorite book?
this one.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Because more so because you relate to it,
Yes,
or okay,
absolutely. Yes. And I just feel like I'm making a difference. Like I'm stepping outside of myself. Like I'm
Yeah.
helping
yeah,
young Kristy.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so stepping out of your comfort zone, what was that like for you? I mean, you had to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna write about me and what I felt as a child.
Hmm.
How huge was that for you? What did it take for you to do that? Because that takes a lot of bravery. So
Hmm.
you had to be pretty brave and strong willed to go through with that.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, once I figured out what this was, I didn't shut up about it.
Okay,
So I was
that's a good
always
thing.
telling people my story. Like so many
Right.
people know
Hmm.
my story because I want them to be able to recognize if that's something that they're dealing with, even as an adult now, because it was very heavy for me and it's something I carried into adulthood and I am
Hmm.
still working on. I'm in therapy. I'm just talking with other people. I'm trying to come up with different techniques and strategies that work for me. And so, yeah, yeah, I don't want them to carry that heavy load longer
Go
than
back
they
to
have
what
to.
Thank you for that, Kristy. Go
Yeah.
back to what you just said. You said you're still working on it.
Hmm.
So there's somebody that needs to hear that. Still working
Progress.
on it.
Yes. Yes.
Progress is over time. It's not
Hmm.
a quick fix. It's not a hurry up and get.
Yeah.
No.
It's a still working on it
Hmm.
Right.
situation.
Right.
And so often for adults, we want to hurry up, hurry up. And we want the children to hurry up and get it or hurry up and figure it out. But I'm
Hmm.
glad you said that because
Hmm.
it's over time.
Amen.
It's
Yes.
over time.
It
Yeah.
takes
And
time.
as we open up more and we talk about mental health, we know it's real, but we have got to have more of the dialogue, this dialogue and conversation,
Hmm.
because people need to know it's not a quick fix. It's not a, oh, go talk to this person one time and now I'm better. Go on with
Yeah.
your life. No,
No.
it's
Hmm.
progress. It takes time. Still working on it.
Right.
Another thing that you said was that you encouraged the character in the story. The character in the story was encouraged by the doctor to journal and have a sketchbook. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Why do you feel it's important for our children that have anxiety, or just in general, to have a journal, or to have or to have a sketchbook?
Hmm.
I just feel like it's easier to get those feelings out on paper or draw a visual of what you are going through rather than try to verbalize it because you get in your head and you start overthinking like am I saying the right words and all that, but just writing it down and get everything out there is much easier. And so that's something that I have been practicing for many years and it definitely helped me before I was able to really verbalize it a lot.
Mm,
Hmm. Yeah, that brain dumping is something. Again, is in children's book. I think adults think, okay, that's for children, but no, you can.
right.
Adults can see themselves in these books as well. And I know that I
Yes.
have so many things going on in my busy brain that I literally have to brain dump nightly just to get it out so
Yes.
that I can sleep
Yeah.
peacefully.
Yes.
Hmm.
That is
Yes.
funny that you say that. I have a funny example.
Yeah.
So, my old realtor that sold me my house, I ran into her recently. She told me she had gotten my book, and her daughters are grown, but she pulled out the book and they joked. They said, "Oh, you have some light reading going on," and she's like, "Yeah." And she read the book out loud to them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, mom! Like we see those things in you." And she said,
Wow.
"Yes, I saw those things in me." She's like,
Hmm.
"That book was everything to me, Kristy."
Yeah. It's
Wow.
There's no age. I mean, of course, children are a target audience, but if it can help and bless anyone at any age, then I mean, the mission is
That's
accomplished for
right.
sure. Yeah.
That's
Yes,
what's important.
Hmm.
yes,
And that says a lot too, because even though it is a quote unquote children's book,
Hmm.
it can reach anyone. Anyone could pick it up, open it up, read it, and actually look at it and say, okay, hey, was I like this? Because now that I think
Yeah.
about it, and I've said this before, I know I, as a child, I was very shy and very, quiet. I know nobody would believe that now, but I was very quiet and shy. And so I don't know if I had anxiety because I did not like to speak in front of people.
Mhm.
And so I would get extremely nervous. I would just pull back. But it makes you wonder, and I think it's so relevant and prevalent now that we
Yeah.
have these books so that now that we know what we were feeling, now that we can help our children with that and say, you know what, this could be something that helps you because, this is what I felt and this described in the book. So I just think it's amazing that now we have so many resources.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We have so many resources.
Yeah.
There's really no excuse for us to have to suffer, the
Yeah.
way, our children shouldn't have to suffer.
Right.
We have so much knowledge literally at our fingertips. We
Mhm.
have amazing African American
Mhm.
authors like yourself and so many others to have written books and that or to help our children and help us as adults.
Yeah.
So I think it's just amazing that the times that we live in right now.
Yes, I love it. I wish I had these books, you guys. Oh my gosh.
You're not alone. We needed
No.
these books, but now that we are the ones creating them, we can't stop because there's a book for everything. Any
Yes, it
emotion,
Yes.
is.
any
Yes.
situation, no matter what you look like, there's a book that you can find yourself in. So we just have to keep creating and creating and
Right.
creating them. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
That's right. So, as far as being an author, what would you say? What type of advice would you give um, an aspiring author? And I say this, I want to preface it with this. There are so many people now that want to be authors, and that's great. But it's like so many people don't want to spend the time, the money, the effort on the quality.
Mhm.
Yes.
Can we talk about that for a second?
We
Let's talk
can.
about that because when we're trying to, talk about these relevant issues,
Mhm.
we want the quality of the book to stand out so that people want to actually pick it up and read it.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that a little bit because there seems to be like a bandwagon of, oh, I wrote a book and here it is. And it might not be. So how important is that? Because we know we have children that are watching, but we also have adults that are watching that are
Mhm.
going to say, you know what, I have this children's book. Let's talk about that a little bit because I think a lot of people are into, well, I want to do it too. But let's talk about all the work that goes beyond. It's not a matter of writing a book and putting it there. It's a matter of what goes behind that. What are some of the things that you've noticed or that you've had to think about as an author is regarding a children's book?
Well, first of all, like as an author coach, when people approach me about that, I find out what their topic is first, how they relate to it. Is it personal to them, or did they just randomly pick something to write about?
Mhm.
Um, those are the important pieces. You're able to pour more of yourself into your project if you're taking it seriously. If
Yeah.
it's something that you've experienced, something personal to you, not just trying to throw something out there just
Mhm.
because. And
Mhm.
so when I think about my books, that's why I write about, health topics, because people have asked me like, why are you only writing about health topics? Well, these are things that are important to me as an educator in the hospital, things that I see, things that I experience, family members that deal with certain things, or even myself, like I said previously. So when you focus on that, you can produce better quality material. And
Mhm.
then just the basic things like making sure you're editing, getting things edited, and following up on those little tiny details. That stuff's important. People
Yeah.
notice those things. So those are my biggest things that I focus on when I'm talking with an upcoming author, or even thinking about writing a book myself. I do not rush anything. I need it to be transparent. I need
Yeah.
it to flow like your story needs to flow, like, so things like that.
That's good.
Mhm.
We can't emphasize that enough because,
Yeah.
you know, Sil,
Mm-mm.
you can go ahead, but I mean, we can't emphasize that enough because so often I think people feel they see other people doing things, and I think this is where I kind of get off, but it's on the topic. Everyone has a purpose. We all have a purpose, and God has a plan for us. And so often we see someone else doing something. Oh, but like you said, what is your what is your purpose of writing this book? Who is your audience? And
Right.
those are questions so often that we don't want to answer because we want to do things our way. But if we're truly walking in our purpose and we're truly following the steps that God has given us, He's given us a purpose
Mm-hmm.
and we have to follow that purpose. And when we follow that purpose, everything else falls in place. So,
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
so Kristy, what is next for you? You have so many wonderful things going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
What's next?
Well, I am working on another book, but I'm not gonna tell you guys what that's about. But I'll be on your show first too. Um,
As long as you come here first, that's all
yes,
that matters.
I was coming to you
Yes,
guys first. So.
yes.
As long as you come here first,
Um,
that's what matters.
so just continuing to go, as far as I can with these different health topics that focus on, our culture, things that we
Mm-hmm.
don't discuss.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm working on. I am also getting more involved in the schools again, because of COVID, I couldn't really be really engrossed in those things and
Mm-hmm.
volunteering in the community and just providing these books out in the community. One of my biggest goals right now is to have a bookmobile in our underserved communities. So I'm working now to get grants and partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
I started that a little last year, but again, because of COVID, everything's going to go a little slower. But
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I trust God's plan, so
Of course.
I'm
Yep.
not in a rush. It'll get done.
Yeah.
Major things.
Key
Major
word.
things. Yes.
That's right. Trusting God's plan.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Seal, did you have any other questions for Kristy?
Yes. So, Kristy, I know that you've been connecting with a lot of people. How has technology helped you to reach more audiences?
Oh, it's definitely been a blessing. People from all over the world contact me now, whereas previously you were just foot to the pavement, and
Yes.
that's nothing wrong with that. And I do miss that, the personal touches. But with technology, you can reach so many
Yes.
more people. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It really is.
Well, Val and I, of course, we talk about so many things, but one of the things that we've talked about recently is using social media and using networks for what they were meant for is social
Yes.
media network. And so
Yes.
if you don't get lost in all of the extraness of social media and use it for what it's actually for, it
Yes.
can be a beautiful thing. You can network with people all around the world, like you said.
Yes.
So
Agree. And I don't focus on the likes, how many followers, friends. Like, I don't focus on that.
yeah,
You will reach the right people at the right time,
absolutely.
and it'll go from there.
The
Right.
evidence is literally right now because Kristy, I mean, this is her third time on the show, but you've been on 4 times, I believe, with the reunion that we did after season 1.
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, this is technology. We have not physically laid eyes on Kristy,
No.
but it's literally us being in the same groups and in the right place and the right time that has orchestrated such a beautiful sisterhood. So I mean,
Yes.
it's technology, so that's social media.
You guys
Yeah.
are like my family.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Seriously, and we appreciate it.
Yes,
I
we
know
do.
that you mentioned Kristy. Speaking back to younger Kristy, so if you could give some advice to younger Kristy, what would those words be?
My advice to myself would be to open up and to express what I feel. And don't be afraid or embarrassed to talk with someone, even if it's not my parent, like a teacher that I trusted, a counselor, even a good friend.
Yeah,
And, just release some of that heaviness that you're dealing with.
Mhm.
absolutely. So that was to younger Kristy, but
Yes.
again, sprinkle that over anyone who's listening. Sprinkle
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Let some of
Yeah.
that weight was never yours to carry. You have
Amen.
to let it go. Okay, you have
Yes.
to let it go. Well,
Yes.
I always enjoy Kristy's episodes and spending time with
Yes.
our sister, but you definitely have to let us know. We will share you. We will share you, Kristy. Let us know where other people can connect with you and where you would like them to follow you.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram at Kristy High, and Facebook, same thing, Kristy High, and my website where you can find all of my books and also, everything that I have my hands in
Mhm.
is KristyHigh.com.
Easy peasy. Kristy High.
Easy.
Okay.
Kristy
High.
High.
Going higher, higher, higher.
Hi. Hi. She's going
She's going
higher.
higher. I love it. I love it. See, she has a cool last name, Val. You know that?
I know, right?
Oh, hey.
Everybody
I love
can't have
it.
a cool name like
I
that.
know. I'm over here with the Smith.
Stop it.
No, everybody
Kristy is
can't be
pretty
real
high.
high.
I love it. I love it. I
Oh my
love it. See,
God.
this is the fun times we have at Storytime Chill with Val and
Yes.
Seal. I know that I can't thank you enough, Kristy, just for you continuing to be brave and walking in your purpose in your
Yes.
life. I know personally that it's not easy, that every day is a choice to continue to pursue the things that God has placed in front of you. I mean, it's a large assignment. And if it was
Yes.
easy, everyone would be doing it. But you were
That's right.
chosen to pour into the children and the adults and to write about these topics. And I personally can speak for me and Val and say that like you have to keep going because we're inspired by the
Yes.
things that you are doing. So
Yes.
Oh, thank
and
you guys.
of
Thank
course,
you.
of course. And I know Val has so much to say as well. So
Yes. I sure do. Well,
yeah.
thanks again, Kristy High, our sister author, for being here with us this evening on Storytime Chill with Valencia. Some of the things that you said that I paid attention to was that you believe in transparency, you're an educator, you believe in love, yet the spirit, anxiety, suffering no more with anxiety, or working on it as you go along. Pointing out, pouring out, excuse me, express, no fear, no embarrassment, anxiety, mental health. Those are all things those are keywords that I heard you say, but those keywords mean so much to so many people. So thank you again for coming on to our show and not and being brave enough to write a book about the topic, being transparent and being open enough to have a conversation and say, hey, that was about me. So that says a lot right there about you as well. So we appreciate that. We know the boys and girls that'll read it, as well as the parents and adults that'll read this book, How to Tame My Busy Brain, are going to love it, and they're going to say, you know what? This was me and I need this book and I'm going to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, Kristy High, for taking out the time to join us on Storytime Chill with Valencia. We look forward to actually meeting you in person really soon.
Yes.
Soon.
And we,
Soon.
and we look forward to seeing you back with whatever new project you have going on. 'Cause we know you're going to come to Story Time Chill first.
Yes. First.
So thanks again.
Thank you.
Exclusive interviews here first. Okay, Storytime
That's
Chill with
right.
Alex Jill.
Yes.
That's
Speaking
right.
of Storytime Chill, if you have not already liked Storytime Chill and followed Storytime Chill on Facebook, make sure that you do so. That way you'll get the bell ring, the notification on whenever our premieres go live. You can also catch us on YouTube at Storytime Chill and Instagram as well, Storytime Chill. As you can see, Val and Seal, we like to talk. So don't be shy. If you want to if you want to shoot us a DM, you can definitely do so. We'd love to connect. If you know a sister author or brother author that would be perfect fits for our show season 3, send them our way and we'll get them all squared away. So, parents, remember, spend time. Make time to spend time. Literacy is not dead. Children
No.
will read. They will read as long as they see themselves in the literature
Yes.
and in the books. So continue to
Yes.
buy them the books that they can see themselves in. So
Yeah.
again, we want to say have a great week ahead. We will see you next time on Storytime Chill with Val and Sil. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.